Welcome to Bridge-Builders, where we connect church lingo and culture with our faith, hoping this will help us grow into our understanding to live out our purpose. My name is Sung Soo John. You can call me RJ, and I'm really grateful that you're here joining us. And as I always say, please subscribe and like and hit that notification button so whenever the new episode is uploaded that you can join us. Today, we're going to talk about Narthex. In Chuck Knows Church, Chuck talks about that weird place that we have right in front of the church. If you're asked, hey, meet me at the Narthex, it would actually be that space where we see that is right before the sanctuary. Narthex actually, in a way, is what we call not only known as an entry or a lobby, but in a way, it is what we call a liminal space where we are entering into a holy space. So there's some incidents where we see that the Narthex actually have some of those in mind where the dimming of the light is a little bit more darker in the Narthex, and as you enter into the worship, you'll see a much more brighter place, because that's where God, the light of the world, is. So Narthex, if we go historically, has a little bit more background onto where it originated from. So historically, the Narthex dates back onto the early Christian tradition, where if you were a catechumen, which means that you are yet to be baptized and you are preparing for baptism by being a catechumen, catechesis is what we talk about learning, or there are times that people who are in penance will not be able to enter into the sanctuary. And that would be the place where people who were catechumen or in penance would be able to participate in the worship without entering into the holy place. That's where Narthex first started. And that, I think, it is something that we need to remember, how nowadays Narthex is a place where fellowship happens. And I remember someone saying, maybe it was from the Catholic Church, that every fellowship, every conversation should happen outside from the Narthex and outside in the courtyard instead of happening in the sanctuary, because sanctuary is a place where God dwells. Now, in a Protestant church, I do have to say we may have lost it, but I do think that that is something that we need to think about. If Narthex is a liminal space where the world and the holy place of God intertwines in between, that may be something. I do have to say a lot of the churches that I had pastored had a very narrow Narthex. And I always wondered what would have happened if we had a larger, more wider Narthex. Because that would be a good place where we place all our donuts and coffee. That would be a great place for people to interact, fellowship. That would be a great place to have bulletins, community news, place for us to pray, and place for us to connect. As I said, this is not to make any changes, but that's something to think about. So the point of talking about Narthex is to remind ourselves that we are living in two worlds. But God had opened up this threshold for us to enter into God's holy place as we are living in this world as God's follower. And whenever you cross that threshold of the Narthex, entering into the holy place and meeting God from the time that we worship and being sent back onto the world, crossing that threshold, not only remembering that we are called here for a purpose, but that there is a God who is not only with us in the holy place, but who walks with us out into this world.